All right, so how we doing? Anybody who follows this channel for any period of time has kind of seen a wild emotional character arc when it comes to me. Anybody who follows from the old show through the very public and self-inflicted shaming that I brought upon myself, loss of all that stuff, leading me to kind of starting my own channel out of spite. A lot of it was also because I was like, I bet you I can get a bunch of hate views, and at least people will see what I'm doing, and I can try to kind of repair my my image from there. It hasn't really worked, but here we are, and most of you have stuck around. Over the last few years, you guys have, anybody who's watched has kind of watched me going from crying, doing movie reviews and shouting to the heavens to anybody who will listen, and moving from jobs and stuff like that. And it hasn't been fun. And again, 100% self-inflicted. The more I talk to a therapist about it, the more I am introspective about it. I feel like that shit was going to happen regardless. I'd been on a really nasty spiral for a lot of years that was able to I was able to kind of keep checks on it just by having certain people around me or certain things moving. But like once everything is taken away, you're laid bare, and all of your secrets kind of come out, and people who you trusted with things, when they see you no longer have any value to them, they're fully willing to give up the ghost when it comes to that shit. But that's not what we're here for. But we are here to talk about how, the last 3 years have kind of led to something that I never thought would actually happen. And that's kind of the springboard to a lot of this, was my kind of the sobering realization that this shit wouldn't happen, kind of sparked somebody to get involved. So I've been in love. Watch this fucking channel, you know that. I'm in love with film. I've wanted to be a filmmaker since I was a little kid. And over the years, I wanted to make superhero movies, and I wanted to make science fiction movies, and I wanted to make Kevin Smith style dramas and shit like that. I fell in love with like Chasing Amy, and through that discovered like Richard Linklater and all that stuff. But what the ultimately came back to all the time was my love for B movies and for schlock, and the ability to be stupid and kind of naughty within that field. And as we started to actually make stuff over the years, like going back even before I was doing Underbelly, was just that fun notion of what I can talk my friends into being part of, and then meeting a lot of really creative people, and then letting their creativity and their skills make my shitty stupid ideas look and sound much better. For a long time, those people were who were like the pillars of all this stuff are not here anymore. And I was very lucky that certain people who are involved in this new project have stuck around, but a lot didn't, and so all these years I've tried to make movies. I wrote a script in 2003 that got me out to LA for a while, and got to work on some things there, but it never came to pass. I had to come back here with my tail between my legs, and then we did the YouTube stuff, and I was always writing, but nothing would ever come of it. And then around like 2010, we had started Midnight Show in its original version, and then that didn't happen, so I turned it into the trailer thing, but then that's still not done because a lot of the people who have fallen out don't want to be involved, so I had to reshoot a lot of stuff. Again, 100% self-inflicted. I don't blame any of those fucking people. It sucks, they put their time and their bodies and stuff like that into it, but I put money into it and all that, and other people's time and bodies. But regardless, so that one still has to get finished. And then around 2017, I said fuck it. I had some extra money, and I reached out to Len Kabaczynski after seeing him on Red Letter Media, because he had a connection to the Blue Meanie, and I know the Blue Meanie through people. And I said I'd love to write Swamp Zombies 2, and I'd love to produce Swamp Zombies 2. So myself, and then I got my former best friend from elementary school and middle school, Kevin Oros, to get involved. You can watch our Ghost House video on here. He and I got together while I was acting in his show, I don't know if it was a show or a movie or what he did with it, Punk Rock 101. And but yeah, so he was a producer on it, and I can't believe how long it's been since we made that movie. And when I was over at the media company, we I pitched a Cinemassacre movie to James, where it would be an anthology movie, and originally it was going to be him remaking all of his shorts, and he would be like the horror host for it. And then it morphed as we went into conversations into it being each short was a horror short, but based on an element of filmmaking. And ultimately, we couldn't get him on the same page, and I think what the company I worked for wanted something completely different, and I had a very different idea, but I was kind of trying to marry the two together. And then when that fell apart, I started shooting this thing called Last Video Store on the Left by the Cemetery, which actually led to my very first episode being on that other show, because we got in trouble for not asking permission to use the studio. And we had spent the redhead painted her completely pink and put her in this like outfit and stuff like that, and I had these puppets made and all this kind of stuff, and then that one kind of died. And then we were going to make an Amityville movie with myself and the host of the other show, and we shot like literally 90% of that, but that all got deleted obviously because those guys, they don't want anything to do with me. And then I had written Sharkula, and I was given money by the owner of the company to make it. He gave me $7,000. I spent $3 on getting things together, and then obviously I got fired, and I had to give them back the whole $7, but then I also had to buy back the rights to shit, not even just with them, but like other people as well, because at this point, my reputation's in the fucking toilet. Everybody is just going, and they're still going to regardless. They're just going to, everything I do is ripped off from someplace else. So I got in this crazy manic fucking phase of, I had 3 complete and total mental breakdowns, very public. You got Red Letter Media making fun of me. You got the Reddit people and all that kind of stuff. And again, this was all my fault. All I had to do was just not copy and paste things, and because I knew it wasn't going to be rewritten, and I knew that nobody was going to check that work. This is my whole thing, is sabotaging myself, and it's kind of led me down the path that I was in. That's why I say, like, if it didn't happen then, it was going to happen eventually. I'm shocked it took that long to happen, because I was not in a good mental place for 90% of my life. And in that I fucked around, and I found out, and I hurt people, and I deserve to lose the people who I lost in my life and stuff like that. But people stuck around, and I got into therapy, and when I got fired from that company, they wouldn't give me unemployment, so I had to quickly jump into working at the theater, and that kind of led me to starting to do my own videos and stuff like that. But I didn't expect it, because everything was still so emotionally raw for me to react the way that I did, and I look back, I try not to look back on videos, but I look back at them now, and I'm like, you knew when you were doing this, like, you had to have known when you were doing this, you were setting yourself up to be a fucking joke, and that people were going to, that's how they're going to perceive you forever now. So I got the rights back to Sharkula, and then the Polonia brothers put out, well, one Polonia brother, they were the Polonia brothers, put out their Sharkula through Wild Eye, so I rewrote mine to be Jaws Ferratu, and then Robbie Lopez of Crude Cinema came to me, and he's like, I need these scripts written, do you want to do these? So I wrote Cold of Blood, Strange Toys, River Beauty with him, and so, we had those out of the way, and then this guy Aaron came to me in LA, and he's like, hey man, I don't care what people are fucking saying about you. Do you want to write this thing, Street Creeps, with me? So I wrote this thing, Street Creeps, that was supposed to be for the asylum, and unfortunately, I think my name being involved kind of killed it, from what I was told. So so that sucked. But then Donald Farmer came to me, and he's like, do you want to reshoot your thing for Shark Exorcist 2, because the thing that I shot with those guys from the old show, we had to get rid of. Just all this stuff is stuff you already know if you've watched any of my other videos. But I'm getting to something, I swear. He gave me the courage to kind of start trying to do stuff again, and to also see like shit actually coming out, like stack of fucking things that I worked on, either shooting a segment, doing a commentary track, getting a special thanks on it, you know, adding something to it. And this is just some of them. Like I gotta find some of my other copies. Bigfoot Exorcist comes out tomorrow, and I let somebody borrow my copy of Bigfoot Exorcist XXXmas. Sorry, I'm not that good off the cuff. I let somebody borrow my copy of that one. That one I went out and I acted in, you know, and that was super fucking cool to get asked to write for people or to get asked to act in things and stuff like that. And you know, then we put some money into the comic book. And you know, I have a producer on that who's helping me steer it through, and it takes all the impulses of me not to give away the ghost when it comes to that, because I have somebody else putting their money and their time and effort into something, and I keep fucking it up, you know, and oversharing or whatever. And so like in the last 3 years, there's been a lot of like desperately trying not to make those same mistakes again. Desperately trying to keep things, you know, together, and as people are saying, you know, you're a psychopath and you're a chronic liar and you're a plagiarist and you're this and that, and me just being like, look at all this shit that I've done, like fuck you, you know, and it doesn't get me anywhere. And then you're just like realize more and more that like they have their following on purpose. Like they continue to put things out, and they, you know, and that's why their following continues to grow, and why they get invited to conventions and all this kind of shit. And I'm out here constantly singing for my supper because I do have that stigma on me, and I want nothing more in this entire world than to get to tell stories and make things with my friends, and to find a way to pay back the people who did stick with me when things were at their worst. Because trust me, looking back now, I go like, I don't understand why anybody would stick with me. I was a fucking whiny little bitch who made things 1,000 times worse, you know, and you know, and with a lot of people, I'm shocked that they stuck with me as long as they did, you know. Part of it was always, I always felt like certain people were with me because maybe something would work out and maybe it would get them to that next level. And then when they didn't, you know, when they got to that next level without me, well, why the fuck do you need me anymore, you know? And that's my own thing, and that's part of what therapy has been, and clearing the deck and being honest with people, and kind of realizing that I'm always going to have that mark on me that I'm never going to be able to wash off, you know? But incrementally, we've been putting things in place to do more, you know. I continue to write, and you know, I have 25 unproduced screenplays on my desktop right now, and I do that, and I try to write in different types of genres, just because you never know. I always see like posts on social media like, hey, I got this producer, they need this kind of script. I'm always trying to be ready to have that kind of script in the event that it ever happens. And what's happened, you know, of late is, you know, I've actually started to see some residuals for some of the stuff that I've worked on, which is really fucking cool. You know, all the years I was at that other company and working with them on other things, even before I worked there, I never saw a dime for, you know, the ads that we did and the Patreon and all that kind of stuff. And now it's like, oh, you're actually like getting paid to write. And some things I don't get to have my name on, obviously, because there is like, they do a Google search of me and their money people are like, abso-fucking-lutely not. But whatever, it's cool to watch something and know that you contributed something to it, you know? So long story short, because we've been going for a while, I do live streams, and occasionally Metz is here with me, or Melissa's here with me, or Madeline's here with me, or Fallon, or whoever. And, you know, one day I came home from work, and, you know, and I was feeling particularly, you know, particularly stuck. You know, I have friends who aren't allowed to tell people that we're friends because of other ties to people and stuff. And I was just kind of looking at the situation as it was and just feeling sorry for myself, you know. And I got into this whole thing, people in the chat were asking about making movies and stuff like that. And I was like, look, it costs this much money to fucking do even the barest of minimum. And I don't have that, man. Like, you know, I tell people, like, in the last 3 years, I've had 2 major medical scares, and I don't have insurance, so I had to take care of that on my own. Paying back the movie, buying back the rights to things, therapy, getting behind on bills. Like, I was in bad fucking shape for a really long time, and I was trying to keep it from people. I borrowed money from people, which I never do, and then I got behind on that, and then I had to quickly try to like take care of that and get it going. And then it's like, oh, you're doing all this fucking shit, and you're also trying to like make a movie and be a YouTuber. Like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, literally, I was wearing these for a long time. I just stuffed the bottom of them with like, shit, just so they wouldn't go through. But like, this was it. Like, I couldn't afford to buy new shoes, putting gas in my car and feeding the cat and stuff like that, and making sure that my basic bills were paid was my ultimate goal. And then when I would put money aside, that automatically went to trying to keep the ball rolling on projects, because I knew that if I stopped, that was it. People were going to completely lose interest again, and I was going to wind up falling down into a hole once more of self-hatred, and then start looking at, start trying to look at for what people are doing that used to be part of my life and stuff like that. And I just knew that I couldn't allow myself to do that. I needed to focus myself. That's why one of the producers I was working with was like, you got to prove you can do this on your own. I'm walking away until you've shown me that you can do this, because if this is really what you want to do, I tell everybody I want to be a filmmaker and all this kind of stuff, but like, writing for other people and shooting things for other people that aren't mine, like, it's not really doing what I need to do to move forward, to show people that I'm better than my mistakes, to show people that that I can, and so that meant like literally wearing shoes until you could see through them, and it was just, this is what you had to do, man. Like, I went long periods without, I didn't eat very much. I was just barely keeping the lights on, and I stopped paying my cable bill, so that's why, like, Metz is always doing everything on the phone. It's like, look, I can't afford it right now, because the biggest thing was keeping up with therapy, trying to keep the other things going. That was where I was. That was where my life was. So, it's very hard not to fall into that feeling of like, had I just fucking done things the right way and just been honest with people, things would be so much fucking different right now. But we're not. That's past. That's done. So it became a matter of, you got to keep your eye on the prize. You got to keep trying to figure out ways to make things done. You get things done. Big borrowing and stealing. I was very lucky when the Red Cup Films guys and the Bad Movie Nights guys decided they would come on and they would help me get stuff done for the projects that I owed Donald Farmer, like Amityville Aliens. We did Amityville versus the Galactic Samurai Schoolgirls and Blood Bitch Baby, and stuff like that. Like, doing those things and it was key to me. And this is a big part of my problem. This goes all the way back, where I'm like Don Quixote. I'm fucking chasing windmills, man. And a big portion of people who don't speak to me anymore was I was very much guilty of putting other people's feelings second, of not giving them what they need. And it was always in this feeling that I was going to be able to, that there's a reason for it. There's a reason for the fucking blinders, man, that I'm trying desperately to do this Herculean thing of making something that people are going to see, that's going to then open doors, and then I figure out a way to fix all the other stuff. It's like, look, we're in this world now, like, you stuck with me when I didn't deserve it. And here we are, like, let's fucking go, man. Like, I can make up everything that we ever did. And I had that in my head, and I had that in my heart for years and years and years. And I thought Swamp Zombies 2 would lead to that, and it didn't. And I tried to do Planet Frankenstein, all these other fucking projects I threw all this money into, and I tried to make them work, and they never worked, and little by little you start to think like, it's me. I don't have what it takes. I gave it a good try, but I don't have what it takes to be the dude. Like you know, loving film, you know, eating, breathing, drinking this shit, and being, you know, and it doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't love you back, you know, and in the end, those people who I actually physically, mentally, emotionally loved are gone, you know, and what I'm left with is this stuff, you know, and as cool as it is to have projects and shit like that, you go like, is this worth it? You know, is you know, the memories you had with those people and what your future could have been, is this enough to fill that hole? And it's not, you know. But what I've discovered is, you know, just because certain characters leave the story doesn't mean the story's over, you know. Doesn't mean I can't learn from what I did wrong and hate myself fucking for it. I hate that I hurt Cinemassacre, you know. I hate that I lost certain people in my life. I hate that, like, and it's not even like your pride is hurt because everybody knows that you're a piece of shit and all that kind of stuff. Whatever. People knew I was a piece of shit before. You know, it's more so like people believed in me and tasked me with something, and I blew it. You know, and that's the part that, like, the character shit has to kick in, and it's like, you know, we learned a lesson. We sure did. And going forward, like, I've become way more mindful of fucking everything, man. Like, I overthink everything to a degree which you wouldn't believe now, and the blind drive towards this shit is not the same, you know. I kind of got into that, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you know, you got pretty close on a bunch of different occasions, but if the opportunity does arrive, I will eat, drink, breathe that shit, you know. And because that's, I think about this stuff all the time. I just, constant movie ideas and script ideas and poster ideas and ideas how to rework things that are out there, and the discord on how, and talking about film with people, you know, and just watching things I've never seen before. Like, that is my only passion. It is the only thing that's ever kind of had me back, you know. Yeah, so I'm way off again, because I just, you know, it's embarrassing, you know. And then you're trying to not show people how fucking embarrassing you are, and most people know. But here we are. So yeah, so we're doing this live stream. And a dude was like, you know, like, how much money would one of your movies cost? And I was like, I don't know, I could probably do something for like 10 to 15,000 if I cut it to the fucking bone. This dude reached out to me, and he's like, well, let's talk. Let's have a meeting about, you know, about making a movie. So he was down to help me get this thing off the ground, you know. And my biggest fear was the idea of crowdfunding. Because I'm already known as a bunch of shit. Last thing I need to know now is being e-beggar. So I had a dude now who actually believed in me and wanted to put his money where his mouth is. And that lit the fucking fuse. Oh, my dryer's done. That would have been good timing if I said it and it went off right there. But again, I'm not a very good filmmaker. So that kind of lit the fuse, and you know, I'd made a whole bunch of pitches as to what I wanted to do and shit like that. And the idea was to do Ghouls, which I made a video on, and that would have been an excuse to bring out Madeline and Katie, who I worked with on Triple Xmas, so we just had a fucking blast working with them. And then the location wasn't available, so I had to quickly pivot, and I was like, all right, what could I do? One location that we could do that's kind of funny and silly, whatever. And it turned to a script that was originally called Floaters, that back in 2016, whenever Spider-Man Homecoming came out. There's a producer, distributor named Michael Ingram who I worked with. He's from Portland, and I had done a bunch of theatrical screenings for him on for some of his movies. He distributed Man from Earth 2 and you know, and Wolf Cop 2 and stuff like that, Saving Banksy, things like that. And so he had tasked me with writing Satan's Slumber Party. So I wrote that, and I teamed up with Joe Lascola on that one and Ryan Hickey on that one, who are both still do stuff with the other channel and all. So they asked for a bunch of rewrites, and this went on for like a couple years. And eventually we got to the point where we cast people, we did a table read, started having props built that Tony DeBartolus built for me, and then nothing ever happened with it. So he's like, well, we're waiting for that. Can you do something a little bit smaller? So I had joked, I was out with the redhead, and we were at a dollar store, and we were grabbing some shit. And for one of the shoots for the old channel, and I was talking about how cheap the pool toys were. I was like, we could do a whole movie with haunted pool toys, and it'd be super cheap. It's just one location. So I wrote this script that was called Floaters, and then I changed it to Amityville Pool Toy Massacre. And then I tried, and then the redhead was like, you don't have any money. You're never gonna have any money for this kind of stuff. You need to pay people if you want. So it never went anywhere. So I was kind of, we had shot the stuff with the people in Delaware, and we went to that event in Delaware where we premiered, Amityville vs. the Galactic Samurai Schoolgirls, and I guess I made an impression on this guy Mark, who was in the crowd, and Mark does production stuff, and I had reached out and I said, hey, does anybody have an in-ground pool I'd like to rent for this thing? So he and I teamed up, and then I went to, we had a bunch of meetings. Him and his wife are into production as well, and they're trying to start getting into features. So I went out and I met with them at their house, and the location's great, and it's perfect, it's everything we need. We took an inventory of all the gear that we have. I knew how much money that I had to spend that I could actually use on this, because I want to make sure that everybody gets taken care of, but obviously I can't afford like standard indie film stuff, so it had to be cheaper and figure out a way on the back end to make things go. And I know a lot of people in distribution, so we went ahead with Amityville Pool Toy Massacre, and I cast Justin Daniels, who I've worked with on a million things. I brought Tony DeBartolus in, who's making monsters for me, and then Mark, his lighting people, his sound people, and all that kind of stuff. And then I brought Katie and Madeline from Triple Xmas, and then Fallon, who's been with me for years. But Fallon, kind of when my life all fell into the shitter, Fallon very much had my back. And Fallon saw things in people I used to work with, and told me some things that I didn't know about, that were said about me and stuff like that. And it kind of recontextualized a lot of the shoots that we had in the past. And I was like, all right, so I got them, and then Melissa, who I worked with on Swamp Zombies 2, and she's done a million other movies. So we have this great little cast for the movie, and then I'm going to play a park ranger in it. And then some of the dudes we worked with from Red Cup, they're going to come out and they're going to shoot their scenes in August. And then we have, if the dates work out, I have a fantastic actress who's going to be the star of the opening. And she's a huge name in the horror community. And, she responded very quickly to me reaching out to her and the script and all that kind of stuff. So if the dates work out, that'll be fucking awesome, and that'll be a huge coup for me as well. But it's it just came to being kind of at my lowest, and then somebody going like, I don't know, I'll give this guy a try and boost him, and then somebody seeing me at that other event and going like, I don't know, I like this guy, and people wanting to get involved, and and I think about how low I let myself sink, and just like constantly singing for my supper and trying to get people to not lose interest in me, and feeling like if I didn't have these things, I wouldn't have anything, and I always felt like the only reason that certain people were with me or around me was because I had things happening. And to have those things taken away, it makes you kind of face yourself. And then I kind of realized like, no, like some people actually just like me and like actually want to see me be successful and actually like believe in what I'm trying to do. My buddy Brian Donahue works on huge projects, like with fucking really famous people. He still wants to come and play in my nonsense, and it comes down to that passion that had me so blinded for so long. It was learning how to kind of widen things a little bit and realize the limitations that I have to deal with, and the past shit and all that, and not letting all of that stuff dictate who I am going forward. You know, and this all sounds like bullshit and, you know, self-help nonsense and all that and shit I paid a therapist for, and I was on meds for a really long time, which just kind of numbed me out, and I didn't like that either. But you know, it's been a long fucking journey, and you watch the stepping stones, and you go like, yeah, life would be really fucking different had I done things differently in the past, and had I just let things happen, or had I just been honest in the beginning, and I didn't, you know. And I'm fucking lucky, and I count those blessings every day. And I'm not a spiritual person or any of that shit. I count those blessings every day that anybody stuck with me, that anybody still sticks with me, that anybody offered me an opportunity to write for them, or to, you know, to shoot for them and stuff like that, or that anybody would want to even remotely be associated with me in any way, shape, or form. That people still watch the channel and will defend and stuff like that. And you know, the ultimate goal in all of this is, I can't get the past back. I can't fix the shit that I did or didn't do. I can't change certain people's minds on who I am or who I was. All I can do is try my best to keep the people who did stick with me happy, and make it worth them sticking with me, you know. And then along the line, maybe find some new people who go like, all right, I like this fucking little weirdo, you know. So yeah, every piece of this, it's like, you know, we're gonna go from A to B to Z to purple to -22 back to B. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to the path to any of this, and all of this could go tits over ass tomorrow. You know, I still have projects that are coming out that I worked on. Stuff's coming out from, like I said, the 9th with Bigfoot Exorcist all the way into next year. You know, to a movie that I was a co-writer on, and is finally getting its premiere this month. And I'm gonna have the Philly premiere of it in August and all that kind of shit. So it's not this nebulous screaming into the void like, I've got all these fucking things, man. Like, please pay attention to me, like me. Like, I'm sorry, you know. Like, now you can actually see the fruits of it. And then for you know, Mark and Chris and Joe and all these people who've been kind of trying to steer me in the right direction, and again, making me prove myself was key. And it sort of goes back to something my buddy Eric Wilkinson said a long time ago. He goes, it's, you know, when you have skin in the game, it means more, you know. And paying for all this shit for so long, it was stupid on my part. You know, I was in a position where I have fucking holes in my shoes and can't afford to eat because of that, because I'm trying to, you know, they say stop trying to prove to other people. And I was like, proving to other people is proving to myself. And that's my own mental issue, you know. But all I've wanted is to get to where we are right now. And I'm scared, man. I know how to run a set. I know how to direct, you know. I know how to keep people happy, and you know, placate egos and all that kind of stuff. Trust me, I know. I've worked with some divas in the past. And presently too, Fallon. Yeah, so, you know, for people to back me up, and now I have to prove it, and now I have to prove that you guys stuck with me for a reason. I have to make it worth it for people to continue to have my back, and to then move into the future. Because you know, the dude who, you know, who offered me money, it was like, well, let's do the next one. Let's do Ghouls, you know. And I met with my buddy Brian yesterday. He's set design, you know, build sets and art director and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'd love to do all this stuff. And I was like, if we had a little bit more money, I can employ you to do that stuff instead of you just like doing favors for me and shit like that, which I hate doing. But you know, so yeah, man, it's been a long 3 fucking years. I hope any of this makes sense. This isn't a boo-hoo, this isn't a pity party, this is me going like, warts and all, you know, my own ambition led me down a path of fucking myself. you know, and when you lose all of the things that you think are important, the people, the relationships, the jobs, the you know, the ego stroking of being involved with certain projects that have certain followings and shit like that, and then you're kind of left to go back to the bottom and start all over again. And I didn't do any of it right. I can tell you right off the bat, like, I would go back and I read things or watch things that I did, and I'm still a whiny fucking little bitch, man, who still desires that dopamine hit of people telling me that I'm good and I'm smart and shit like that. But there's now a level of, okay, we've seen the other side of this shit, man, and I can never go there again. If this movie fucking fails and I'm back to, I get holes in these fucking shoes, that's fine. I'm willing to do that just to know that I had a chance and that I took my fucking shot. I shot my shot, and whatever happens, happens. But you know, I'm excited, and I look back on sitting here right now thinking, holy shit, we're 7 days away from fucking shooting a movie, to where I was October 2021 when, you know, everything went down, and you know, and I tried to kill myself 3 times, you know, thinking how disappointing that must have been for people, knowing how disappointed I was in myself, but being too blinded in, look at all the fucking shit that I did for you guys, look at the position you fucking put me in, you know, and nobody would know who you were, you know, blah blah blah, and all this righteous indignance that I had. And then when you step back from it, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, who the fuck do you think you are? You're fucking nobody, you know? And it took a long time for me to kind of get to that point of not being that person, you know, and allowing myself then to listen to other people when it comes to criticism and all that kind of stuff, and to then just focus myself on, all right, we're going to get back here, we're going to do all these other things, we're going to write for people, they're not going to use our names, we're going to pay for this shit, we're going to have to, you know, we're going to have to stroke people's egos over here, and we're going to have to do this, that, and the other thing, and little by little we'll build the hooks we need to get back up to a place to closer where we were. Because I remember very, very distinctly, like, I remember when Len Kabaczynski said, yeah, fuck it, let's do Swamp Zombies 2. You know, I remember very distinctly when Ryan from Screamwave handed me that check for $7,000. I said, okay, try to make a movie, you know. I don't think that they ever believed in me. I think that was a matter of, wouldn't it be funny if you failed kind of thing. You know, and I went into that with the same vigor that I went into this with. Like, okay, we're going to get the schedules together, we're going to get the storyboards together, we're going to come up with a visual palette, we're going to do all these things, you know, this is how we're going to do our audio, this is our video, blah, 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 blah. You know, giving the actors, when I gave them the script, like, you know, giving them some homework, like, okay, your character's kind of based on this, and I kind of want to play it this way, you know, and then, like, coming up and, like, I have this idea for this, and then having Tony go and design it. You know, all that shit was going to be the same no matter what I did, but now it's real, you know, now it's like, okay, put your money where your mouth is, let's get the people together. I had 3 jobs, up until, a week ago. You know, I was the inventory manager for FYE, but some people found out that I worked at FYE, and then the Cinemassacre Truth people started doxing it constantly, so it was constantly making phone calls and saying shit about me that was not true and stuff like that, and I got called into the office with the district manager because they're like, what the fuck is happening? I was running the overnight shift at a hotel, where unfortunately, because of cons that Screenwave has, you know, because they own too many games, they had people staying at the hotel, and then I had to kind of grin and bear that, but whatever. So, and then I was running some public storage places for a while. So I had 3 jobs. I was doing 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., and then starting the entire thing over again. So I would go like 56 plus hours without sleeping sometimes, and it was just like, okay, well, we got to do this if we're going to pay for this, and then we also have the money to put aside to work on that project. So, like, I was doing that, and trying my fucking best, man, and it was emotionally and physically, spiritually draining, but slowly by piece by piece I was putting stuff aside, and we were able to then do these things. And then, you know, our following stayed fairly consistent when it came to the YouTube channel, and we're starting to see things come out when it came to the other movies and stuff like that. And then, like, I was feeling, after the last surgery, I was feeling a bit healthier, because there was a period of time as I was working those 3 jobs, I also had to have a major surgery on my groin and my bladder and stuff like that. And, you know, thankfully it wasn't cancer. You know, that was my first fear, was that it was prostate cancer, because Christy had passed away in June from battling cancer for 6 years. And I just, it's again, it's just this fucking, the self-imposed weight that I put on myself, trying to prove to people that I'm not the things that strangers online say I am, was my biggest fucking flaw, man. And it came to that point of like, all right, fuck it. You know, you got enough now to start doing what you want to do. You know, you got some people who are willing to put up money to help you make that thing happen. You have people who are willing to put their time into helping you make that happen. You know, so go get yourself a new fucking pair of shoes. Go get a haircut. You know, and like, prove that you can do this thing. And, you know, at my absolute fucking lowest, you know, again, like I tried to take myself out 3 times, you know, and as I watch other people, their stories continue without me, and feel like, you know, my biggest fear in life is to be the thing that holds people back. And then it turned out that that was true. You know, I was the thing that held certain people back from living the life that they apparently live now, you know, and being happy and you know, being fulfilled, you know, and no, you know, I was so blinded by trying to make these things that go like, it's going to fix it all. Well, it wasn't going to fix it all. You were the problem, dude, you know, and I'm happy that people are happy, and even if it is without me. And I hope that one day people will check out the dumb shit that I made and go, oh, that's pretty good, you know? That was clever, that was funny, that was well done. Like, I didn't think he had it in him. I'd love that one day. But I know I'm not going to get that, you know? So I got to learn how to light my own candle. And you know, and trust me, for the last few years, I've been lighting my own candle quite a bit, you know? And that's been the biggest thing is, you know, when other people now rely on you to follow through on what you said you were going to follow through on, making a movie, casting people, putting projects out, writing things, working, you know, stuff like that. Just like, you got to pull your shit together, man. And I feel like the path I've been on for the last 3 years is one of the most broken fucking, you know, jaded and you know, it's all a fucking mess, and none of it makes any fucking sense. Just like this video, it's a rambling, incoherent mess. But it's just to say that, like, I went back and I watched where I was when the first video I put on this channel to where we are now, and I am in no way, shape, or form a completed work. But, you know, I kept my shit enough together to get to this point. And I'm not asking anybody to pat me on the back or anything like that. I'm just letting people know that, like, you know, it ain't easy for anybody. I'm not going to fucking bitch because there are people out there watching this who have it 1,000 times worse than me. You know, and they're like, oh, that must be nice. Like, I've had way worse happen. It's like, I get that, man. I understand it. We have to frame everything through our own lens. And I'd say a smarter person would have fucking quit after the whole plagiarism thing, would have just given up and been like, that's it, we're done. You know, you've had enough. And there are enough people who said, you will never write again. You'll never write for us again. You know, people who are friends with the people I used to be friends with, who've gone out of their way to attack producers I've been working with to make sure that they second guess me on things, you know. But we've kept the course. I've rallied no, honestly, the people around me have rallied me. I'm not going to lie about that. You know, Metz and Fallon and people, you know, and they've kept me going when I didn't think I would keep going. And along the way, we've caught the attention of other people who've now gotten involved, and so I'm just grateful. I hope any of this makes sense. I'm grateful for the opportunity to even be in a position where we have the ability now in 7 days to start shooting a movie. You know, we're going to shoot 30 pages in 5 days, and then we're going to reconvene again in August, and we're going to shoot some scenes then, and then figure out the schedule of that known actress, and then get her in here and shoot that whole scene. You know, and it's going to be a lot of work, but I have a lot of people. My buddy Race is going to be coming out from Arizona to come help me, and it's funny because Race is one of those people when things were at their shittiest. He was a Cinemassacre truther who was just like, I don't know, man, it doesn't seem like you're a fucking monster like people made you out to be. And we became really good friends, and he flew out on his own dime to Atlantic City when we were at that one convention to hang out with us, and we've become like brothers since then. So you never know who you're going to meet at different times. Like, I never knew I was going to meet Madeline and Katie. I went out to go do James Dean's movie, and, you know, and wound up having such a fucking good time with those people, and them digging what I was laying down, and me trying to find ways to work with these people. And that's been the biggest thing, is you never know who you're going to find. You know, I'm so grateful for everyone who's been there for a long time, everybody who's found me, everybody who's been in my corner cheering me on. You know, even people who've said like, you're a fucking piece of shit and you're never going to achieve anything. Like, it's committed me to being like, all right, watch, you know, and part of that's bad too. You know, you can't be completely driven by spite, you know. I'm down to like 60% spite now. But yeah, just looking back a lot in the last few days, over the last 3 years, and seeing where we were, where I was then to where I am now. Never in my wildest dreams believing that I would have this opportunity after so many failed starts and trying and failing. Like, we are still going to do the Puppet Plan 9 movie. That's all still ready to go. The comic book is still going to come out, you know. You know, it's just I'm working with. I want to do everything right a fucking way to show people, but other people are like, you got to play 3D fucking chess here, man. Like, you got to prime things in order to, you know. And here I am on T-Fury, like, putting out or T-Public or whatever it's called, put out the Florida Man logo, and the guy I was working with was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you ruining everything? And then I realize sometimes I'm getting myself into that place of self-sabotage, because I would get so close to something, and I would get so tunnel vision, and I would blow it, and it stopped, and I go, oh yeah, fuck, right, yes, we can't be that person anymore, we have to do this right, you know. And that's kind of, you know, and there have been those bumps along the way, and it has meant people leaving and being like, prove it, you know. And you know, and that's it's been the name of this whole fucking thing, you know. And it looks like the work is paying off. It looks like the you know, the ignoring the fucking whack job British blogger guy, and it's like 5 sock accounts that I blocked because he's a crazy person, you know, and you know, the Reddit people who still want to say shit and all that kind of stuff. And I get it, man. I understand. Like, yeah, trust me, if I had somebody who fucked up as badly as I did, you know, I can understand why people hold that over their heads, you know. And for the people I used to work with to hate me as much as they do, like, I hurt their channel. Like, I affected something that they've been working on and they're proud of, and that's something on me that I have to deal with. Now, granted, the fucking people, you know, saying really shitty things about me or about, you know, me at Christie's funeral and stuff like that, you know, that's the thing, guys. Everything gets back to me. That's you know, I went up there and I gave a speech at her funeral, and I sobbed all the way through it, and I was inconsolable. But her dad asked me to make that speech, and then people I used to be friends with who were like, "Oh my God, he went up there and made it all about himself," and it's just like, really, like, this is what we're doing now, you know. But regardless, I'm still a prickly pear about certain things. But what I'm not gonna allow is for that to be me forever. You know, the more we put stuff out, the more good press we get, the more we are able to attract people to want to be involved. the prouder I am of the work that I put in, and more just in awe of the people who stuck around and who have my back, and who you know, I have to do this. I have to do a thing that validates their belief in me. They're not dropping me. You know, that's I sat at Mark, the DP, the homeowner's table, and kind of got like emotional talking about that with his wife. And it's like, I get so in awe of people who are singers, writers, photographers, filmmakers, like who actually have skill and talent, and I don't have any of those things. You know, I have the ability to kind of mobilize small groups of people to get excited, and then do everything in my power to kind of hold on as tight as I can to keep that going. And I so desperately want to take whatever little tiny bully pulpit that I have now and find a way to show off those talented people. Because again, you know, I owe so many of you so much for sticking around, you know, and I think about, you know, trying to kill myself and being like, what the fuck, man, like, it's fucking YouTube, dude. Like, it's you know, it's everybody's gonna move on with their lives. They're gonna do certain things, and I could be friends with this person for 22 years, and I could be in love with this person for 15 years, and in the end, they're gonna go their separate, you know, they're gonna go their separate ways together, and all that kind of stuff, and you're left behind. You're not part of that story anymore, but you were part of that story, and you learned something from that experience, and this can't be who I am and what I am forever. There are people who count on me. There are people who believe in me and put their time in and their efforts in, and you gotta get your fucking shit together, man. And if you really want to show off how talented your friends are, and show off these wild ideas that you have and shit like that, and put it all in a fucking pot and make it work, you gotta get your shit together. You gotta stop being a little fucking pussy. And you know, and that's kind of what it took, was this kind of sobering period of time of getting body, mind right and all that kind of stuff. And here we are. And this is all a long way of saying thank you, and saying how excited I am to be doing this, and being given the opportunity. You know, thank you, Chris, for lighting the fucking spark to make me think I could do this. Thank you, Mark, for offering up your talents and your home for us. Thank you to, you know, everybody who's been involved in this, you know, going way back. You know, Tony DeBartolo building all these cool shit, and you know, and Fallon, and for sticking with me when I wasn't getting things done, and I was being more trouble than I was worth in a lot of stuff while trying to get Sucks done. You know, it's life's a fucking learning curve, man. And I didn't think at 40, well, I turned 40 when things really fell apart. I didn't think it would take that long for me to kind of like start to get my head straight, but here we are, you know, and I'm in a much better place, body and mind, than I have been in a long time. And I had people who were counting on me, and I for once am not in a fake it till you make it. I still am. I'm still faking it till I'm making it. But I am very much in a like, okay, I can do this. I know I can do this, you know, and I know also that if I can't do it, I have people around me who can help me make it happen. And that's the biggest thing, is for so long I was trying to do it all by myself and trying to prove something that, like, it just would have been a lot easier if I trusted my own gut to say, like, stop holding on so fucking tight. Like, where's he gonna get you? You know, stop trying to be the hero of Monster Mania or whatever it was called, and stop trying to be the guy who's putting together all these fucking shows and doing all these things. Like, let other people help you, and it's gonna be better, you know. And it's taken me a long fucking time to get to that point. And I still hate myself, you know. I still have very, very low self-esteem, and you know, I don't think very much of myself physically. And the more and more I look at it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die alone. But that's neither here nor there. You know, we've gone through a lot of shit together, and we're gonna go through a lot more shit together. And I'm hoping that we're kind of getting into the arc now of, we've been to the bottom and we've crawled our way to at least the middle, you know, and the idea of just being such a joke to so many fucking people, and I'm still am, whatever. But to keep putting in the work, and to then have people look at it and say like, oh, he wrote that. That's cool, you know. just the redemption arc is what I've been trying to get for a really long time. America loves a comeback story. And while I'm no Rocky, you know, I hope people know just how hard I've been working, and how badly I want this. You know, when I was sick, when I was getting surgeries and stuff like that, you know, and when I was low, and as people were leaving and when people are passing and stuff like that, you know, I wanted nothing more than to prove myself and to have people go like, good for him, man. Like, you know, and you're never gonna have everybody do that, you know, and maybe the thing you're doing isn't fucking great. You have people already who are just like, why you gotta make an Amityville movie? Like, why can't you make something good? And I was just like, hey, you know, I love schlock. You know, I love B movies, cult movies, trash films, drive-in, grindhouse, whatever. You know, and I think that I want to have fun with people, and I want to make things that it doesn't have a message. I'm not trying to sway anyone's political, gender, socioeconomic beliefs or anything like that. I want to make something that 13-year-old me would have rented in the video store, and that's my ultimate dream in all my life, of everything we ever tried to do, of all the projects I tried to get off the ground with people who aren't here anymore, and ones I tried to get off the ground with people who are here still. It's always just, I want to make fun shit that people can you know, enjoy, and you know, and that's like the things that sparked me when I was a kid, you know, discovering Joe Bob Briggs and Rhonda Shear, and, you know, USA Up All Night, and all, you know, and the video store, and Fangoria magazine, Starlog, all that kind of stuff. Like, my head is so full of all these things that brought me so much joy, and as things were at their absolute worst, the things that I kind of retreated to give me like some warm sense of normality as everything was changing. And, you know, and that's the goal going forward. Like, I don't care if you don't like schlock. I don't care. You don't have to watch it. Nobody's fucking asking you to like Jaws-Feratu. Nobody's asking you to like Vampire. Nobody's asking you to like Infestoids or Amityville Pool Toy Massacre, you know? And trust me, I have no end to the wealth of pun titles I want to do and stuff like that, you know? It inspires me. It makes me happy. And one man's trash is another man's treasure, you know? And I want people to want to come to a project that I'm working on and to be excited and laugh and have fun and it be something they're proud of working on. I don't want more people in my life who are ashamed of the things that they did with me and hide the things that they did with me. Like, that sucks, man. That's sobering. And that's, you know, another big fucking wake-up call for everything is, like, you know, you got to find your tribe. You got to surround yourself with people who are all pulling in the same direction, because trust me, every single person we're working with and everybody I want to work with, you know, I want to get them to the next level. You know, I want to help them in some way get to where they want to be. And I don't know if I have that ability. I don't know, you know, if I'm talented enough, if I'm smart enough, whatever, to do those things. But that is my dream, is to make fun shit with fun people and have it be stuff that people are proud of and who will speak of working with me fondly, you know? And that's my own fucking ego talking. But yeah, man, just thank you. Thank you, everybody who's been part of this journey, who's kept tabs on me, who's checked in on me. Again, you go back to the very first video I put up here, and this under, you know, when everything happened, to where we are now, and there's definitely been an arc, and it's been hard, and I've wanted to quit so many fucking times, and I've wanted to give in so many fucking times, but, you know, you guys have pulled me through, and just a random live stream introduced me to somebody super cool who believed in me enough to go, like, I'll help you make this happen, you know? And then that led to other people getting involved, and then old friends I've wanted to work with for a long time, me finally having the confidence to go back to them, being like, hey, we're doing this thing, and then them being excited to see me excited again. So, you know, we're not near the end, you know? There's still a lot of work to do, but we are closer now than we were before. You know, and I'm excited that I can do this my way with my own little idiosyncrasies and my own, the people I want to work with, instead of trying to shoehorn in people that other people would want to work with and stuff like that. And so far, we have a little group chat of the actors who are going to be in all the scenes that are coming up, and everybody's getting to know each other and getting along really well. And I get bullied by by the girls and stuff like that, and that's fine. I give it back. But a director who's done a lot of stuff said to me, he's like, you got to be the boss on set. Everybody's got to know that you're the boss. And I was like, I get that, and obviously, but like if I don't know something now and I don't feel like in my gut something's working, I want other people's input, and not to it becomes a fucking free-for-all. I've been on those sets before. It's actually how I met Fallon, was on a set where everyone was in control but the director. But yeah, so being able to kind of throw it to people and having a relaxed set where everyone's pulling in the same direction. That is my goal, that is my dream, and that seems to be the path that we're going on right now, and it's going to be a lot of work. 30 pages in 4.5 days. But I'm so fucking excited for everybody who's involved. I'm so excited for the people who are coming to join us, and I'm excited to share the building of this thing with you guys, because again, the boy who cried wolf, just, oh, we're gonna do this project, and then nothing happens. Oh, we're gonna do this project, nothing happens with it. And you just become you look like a fucking asshole, and that became a thing of you're trying to impress the wrong people. You're trying to impress Reddit people, or the people you used to work with, or strangers online. It doesn't fucking matter what you do. They've got their mind fucking made up about you, Why are you not trying now to keep these people who have been loyal to you and want to see you succeed? Why are we not doing that? And that's where it took the mind fuck to switch it all around and refocus things. And I think 3 years ago, even given that I would have had Ryan, Justin, Crystal, Tony, all those people there, it wouldn't have been my project, I feel like mentally and emotionally I wasn't where I needed to be to where I am now. So I feel like this is coming about at a time when I'm in a better place to make this project, and that's the part that makes me proud of myself, which I never do. And excited for what I know, Elvira, and you've been here since the beginning, and I appreciate you and all the hard work that you've put in as my producer. Can you pretend like you like me for 2 minutes? Please? Because I love you. The only reason I didn't fucking kill myself was because of this goddamn cat. Back that October, I'm sitting on my bathroom floor ready to fucking make a cut, and I'm just like, it's not this fucking animal's problem that I'm a piece of shit and a loser. So I didn't. So I owe her everything, So, but as much as I love you guys, I owe this cat more. And I'm only oversharing in this situation now because people are like, stop oversharing, stop being an open book. Because this is part of one long, ongoing story. And it started way before I fucked everything up. And it's going to continue way after I fucked everything up. And now we're in a place where I've done a lot of the work. There's still a lot more work to do, but I feel like, we're gonna do something really, really cool. We're gonna make something. I ain't gonna win any fucking awards or anything like that, and maybe it won't grow the YouTube channel, and I won't get invited to conventions or anything like that, but I feel like us as a group, the people making it and those of you watching and everybody who's kind of together in this, we're this one fabric. And I think that, I wouldn't be doing this without you guys. And I thank you from the bottom of my fucking heart, man. I really do. Yeah, we're gonna do something cool. We're gonna do something really fucking cool and exciting. And we've already got another project lined up for right after this. And with a little bit more money, I can then bring in some other people who really wanted to be part of this one, but I just couldn't afford it. I just want to build a cool little community of like-minded weirdos. That's it. So 7 days from now, the 15th I'll be in Delaware, and we begin filming Amityville Pool Toy Massacre. I know it sounds like a trashy Tubi movie, but that's kind of my goal. I love trashy Tubi movies. You know, I can't believe I'm here. I'm so lucky to have you people in my life, and to give me this opportunity to do this. You know, it's been my dream my entire life, and I wish all the bad shit never happened, but you can't really understand and appreciate the good stuff without the bad stuff. I just wish the bad stuff wasn't as bad. Yeah, man, this you know, yeah, and we're gonna shoot a bunch of cameos from people, Barefoot and Independent, and 8-Bit Eric, and people like that are gonna shoot little cameos for me, and yeah, man, it's gonna be a little, you know, a little tiny micro budget movie, and we're not gonna have all the bells and whistles and stuff that, you know, I would have had if I was at the other place or whatever. But what we're gonna have is this cool homemade thing, and it's gonna be like my little rascals, like, let's put on a fucking show, you know. And I can't wait to be on set and filming with my friends, and I get a kick out of when I hear my dialogue come out of other people's mouths, and you know, and so far in the production of building all this thing up, explaining little quirky things to people, I was like, well, no, it's gonna be this, and we're gonna cut it sort of like a Russ Meyer thing where it's got these inserts and stuff, and just having people be like, he seems to know what he's talking about. So yeah, and you know, and we'll see what happens, but I can't wait to show everybody what we're working on. And yeah, thank you everybody, and sorry I rambled so much, and sorry that there was no linear thing, and I don't mean to bitch about, you know, unfortunately the place I used to be, and those people, it's such a big part of this story, and I don't mean to be spiteful towards them. I am actually, like, I saw some pictures of some people recently, and I was like, that's awesome, dude. I'm glad people are getting in shape. I'm glad people have new boyfriends, and their channel is growing, and they're doing all these things and stuff like that. You know, even the video game for Retroware that I was part of, like, I'm excited to you know, when I'm the one who pitched that. I'm excited to see it actually coming to completion and stuff like that. You know, I don't have the kind of ill will that I had before. Because you do realize, like, you did this, you know, I did this, you know, so in that regard, like, I am happy for people that they've bettered themselves. I am sorry that I wasted so many people's time, you know. I am sorry that I wasted years of Crystal's life. I'm sorry that I wasted years of Justin's life. I'm sorry that I hurt Tony's channel. I'm sorry that I hurt Cinemassacre and all these kind of things. Like, you know, if I could take it all back tomorrow, I would, but I can't, you know. And as I was at my lowest, I felt like people were relishing that, and that's completely understandable. And then it became, like I said, I had to rebuild myself. I had to start over from, okay, what do I do that's good, you know, and how do I build off of those things that I know I can do and I'm good at and stuff like that. And you know, and people ask Metz all the time, like, why do you stick around somebody who all these people say these things about? I was like, because that's not who he is, you know. Same thing with Fallon, same thing with other people. Like, people see something in me, you know. And one of my biggest things that I keep in my mind was when I first started dating Christy, early on, you know, because I'd left film school early and all these kind of things, and I was talking about, you know, wanting to make movies, and she wanted to be an actress. I was like, oh my God, we could do these things. And I saw this thing in her because she was beautiful and she was a model and stuff, and like trying to, like, oh my God, we could do these things. And like, and I found myself doing that a lot throughout the years with other people, like becoming fixated on this idea of them as this one thing, and letting that blind me. I did that with Crystal as well. I wanted so badly. At a young, you know, when we first met, she was like, I want to be a sex symbol. I was like, oh my God, I want to make you a sex symbol, you know? And you know, and I tried, and fortunately in that, I fucked it all up, and I made things terrible, and I hurt her, and since she's been out of my, you know, since I've been out of her life, she's fucking taken off, you know, and same thing with Hack the Movies and Justin and all this kind of stuff. Like, but I just remember going back, like, Christy going, like, I see something in you, and I wish you saw it in yourself. you know. She's like, if you saw what I saw in you, you would be, you know. And when her friend told me that she passed away, that was literally the first thing that I thought of, was that she never got a chance to see me see that in myself, you know. And that was the thing that like eats me alive, is there's so many people who are gone now who will never get a chance to see me do the thing that like really just goes like, oh my god, I've unlocked some new potential in myself. You know, there are people who are still around who aren't going to see it because they don't fucking care, you know. And there are people who are gone who aren't going to see it, and I have to hold that inside of myself. And that I wrap up this with this, because it's getting retarded on my part now. Is you know, I had to figure out how to see something in myself that maybe other people weren't going to see. And maybe that's part of the fake it till you make it thing, but it comes straight down to what Christy said. It's like, if you only saw this thing in yourself, and I still don't, but I'm trying, you know. And that's the part of all of this, is whatever I've done that's failed, whatever I've done that's succeeded, whatever, I tried, you know. I've been trying my fucking best to make sure that I learned something from all this. I bettered something. I bettered myself from all of this, and that, you know, to not go into something and have it be muddy and stained by all the past, to make something pure and fun and joyous for people, and a memory that people have, you know. And that's sort of where we are, and that's sort of what I'm most focused on, is doing the best fucking job that I can, and making the people around me look as good as they fucking can on camera, and making the most fun thing that we can make, and the thing that would make people want to come work with me again, and would want to be my friend, or defend me, or watch my shit. Like, that's the whole thing, man. It's like, you know, I have an orbit of people, and you know, I need to keep them there. My biggest fear is losing more people, you know, because like I said, there are people who I love who I can't talk to anymore. There are people who I love who still talk to me, but people can't know that they talk to me, you know. And as I get older, and as things change and move on and leave and die, I'm trying to hold on as much, like I said, hold on to what I can, of what's still here, and build that off of myself, and build my core back up, to then I can be a better person to the people around me and the people who have my back. And that's, you know, that's the most amazing part of this entire experience, is to actually see seeing gains, you know, seeing the work is starting to pay off a little bit, and the friendships I've made along the way. But yeah, so I hope any of this makes sense to you guys. And I hope that you stick around, because I think that there could be some special shit coming. So that's it. Thank you.